Fine. I'd like to raise with the Taoiseach today the consequences of the budget last Wednesday. The hype and all of the big discussion is now over, and the consequences are becoming evident for a great number of people. And one of the things that we spoke about here as politicians is that in accepting the fact that there was a requirement to arrive at a figure of approximately 4 billion in reductions of current spending, that there should be a sense of fairness running through this budget. And what I want to address today with you, Taoiseach, is that very issue, a sense of fairness. Now, the Fine Gael party have a motion down in private members' time dealing with the consequences for the disabled, the blind and the carers. Those three categories within the welfare category who cannot work because of their circumstances. And I'd like you to know that as a politician, over the last weekend, the kinds of contact that have been made and the graphic descriptions given of the circumstances that apply in these three categories, Taoiseach, mean clearly that this budget for those people is palpably and demonstrably unfair and mean. I want to tell you why. The blind pension is means tested. If a person who's blind has any means or is married to a person of means or whatever, they cannot draw this pension. And those who do qualify go on to old age pension when they reach that age because the old age pension is of a higher level. And there are only 1,500 people involved nationally, 1,500. And you've taken €8.60 off them, of people who cannot work, who have a very strict means test applied to them. And I want to say to you about the carers who give over 3 million hours duty every year because of love of kith and kin. And let me tell you about Tom from Arklow, who's in a wheelchair, whose case is public, who looks after his loved one because she has multiple sclerosis for 16 years. And Tom was an IT consultant, earning €400 a day, 2,000 a week. And now he's a full-time carer. And the conditions, as you know, Taoiseach, specify that it must be full-time care. So he's been cut by €8.60. His loved one's in a wheelchair. The house has to be heated because she can't move around. There's a bigger cost involved there.
Please.
The carbon footprint means that they're going to have to pay extra for travel. And her dietary requirements mean that the cost of living in that house is higher than normal. And for the disabled, the same applies. So in a case of a government setting out to deal with its figure of 4 billion, your government has actually taken out the political gun to the most vulnerable, the blind and the carers and the disabled. I've been in houses, you've been in houses. You've seen them with dementia, you've seen them incontinent, you've seen the pressure that is on people who look after them on a full-time basis, who save the state an average of 40,000 each, running to hundreds of millions a year. And yet the response from the government has been to take €8.60 off each of these people. When you pump hundreds of thousands of millions into a black hole of banks and you allow people to walk away with pensions of over 100,000 untouched. There can be nothing, Taoiseach, in our so-called Christian country that is as unfair as what I saw last Wednesday for the disabled, the carers and the blind. And every government minister with any gumption should be ashamed of themselves to walk up those steps and vote for that. Now, I'd ask you not to divide the House tomorrow on an issue that's as sensitive as this. where you have defined numbers, defined cases, where they're in their houses now having to put up with the cruel consequences of this cut from a government. And I'd ask you, Taoiseach, in the interests of there being so many other options, to reverse these cuts and tell us that now.
And Taoiseach.